Aloha, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 for July 23rd of 2024.
Guys, we're MrMaple.com. We're going to talk about 10 trees that are getting listed today at 10 a.m. There's actually 20 that get listed, so check out that weekly email, which you can sign up for on MrMaple.com.
There's another secret trees you'll only find out about by being part of that email list. It's the secret list. Go ahead and check that out, guys. That's every Tuesday and Thursday here at MrMaple.com. Let's jump right into it. Let's bring back Pinus, parviflora, Tanima-no-yuki.
Yeah, y'all, this is a Japanese white pine that has white variegated needles mixed in with the blue-green needles on that Japanese white pine that has such a unique structure, unique texture, and it's variegated. It's hard to beat.
This might be my favorite conifer. I don't know. It's up in the list. Like if I were doing a top 5 conifers, Tanima-no-yuki would definitely have to be in there. It is variegated. It's a showstopper. It's so interesting. It looks like snow peaks over it when it fills out. It looks so nice. These are going to work zones 5 through zone 7. They need some protection of the hot afternoon sun when you get into those hotter zones. Absolutely amazing plant though. I have this growing in full sun here in western North Carolina in zone 6B on one of our banks, and it looks outstanding.
I love what this tree can do. It goes so well with Japanese maples in the garden. And it's the Japanese white pine, the Pinus parviflora, is used in traditional Japanese gardening. And this gives you that traditional Japanese gardening feel with a little bit extra flair. That white variegation just looks like snow on this Japanese white pine, and that's why this name, Tanima-no-yuki, means snow-covered peaks.
It is one of the best variegated conifers. Grab you a Tanima-no-yuki. These are in our 1.5s, guys. They're a great size plant right now, well established. You can see what these look like right now. They're not going to last long on these lists. We're actually selling them at our 1 gallon price, but they're a 1.5. Grab you one today.
Guys, next up, we've got Acer palmatum Dora. And this is an amazing Japanese maple by Dick Vandermatt. We're not talking about Dora the Explorer. We're talking about a vibrant pink-orange Japanese maple.
Guys, I love this one. Dick Vandermatt, if he's famous for one category, it's got to be that DeSojo spring category. This is the guy who brought you Hinotori Nishiki. This is the guy who brought you Phoenix. I mean, he's hit so many home runs that are staples. Isabel, all around the world for that spring interest. Dora is another one in that collection. So, guys, a lot of you people looking for bonsai interest trees should learn about some of his introductions. This one would be as well as bonsai as something like DeSojo. So Dora's got some incredible orange spring pink color, and I think you're going to love what this one does in the landscape as well.
I mean, there's times when this thing just puts Winayama to shame in the early spring. For me, this is a rock star out in the garden. It's not commonly offered, especially here in the United States, and this is a tree that's going to sell out very quickly today.
Yeah, these are also going to work well as bonsai because they fit that DeSojo mold for air layers, for rooted cuttings. It's a small leaf. They lose that spring color, go to more of a green midsummer with that explosion color going on over top of it. Orangey reds in the fall. I think you're going to absolutely love what Dora can bring to the table. It's a lot of people aren't familiar with it. We've offered it here at Mr. Maple going back to about 2013, so it's been a minute. Might not even be on our new website since we've updated. We're working to bring back the full Dick Vandermatt collection. So if it's one of those cool ones that he showed us, Dick worked really hard to make sure we had all of his introductions of merit. So he got a lot of those to us before he passed. We're happy to carry on that tradition with Acer palmatum Dora. All right, guys, we're bringing back Acer palmatum Beni-otaki. Check out our recent podcast we did on the top 20 linear lobulum selections to see where Beni-otaki went on the list. It's one of the all-time classics, especially for a red upright.
I love Beni-otaki. The name means red bamboo, and it gives this bamboo aesthetic of this open, airy feeling in a garden. That adds that traditional Japanese feel to a garden very easily. Love this tree because it's vigorous, it's cherry red in the spring, it's got some good maroon color during the summer, and it gives you some bright crimson to scarlet reds in the fall.
I can hear you in the comments section. In the future, great sizes, you're correct. Everything right now at Mr. Maple, great sizes. During the summer is one of the best times to pick things up because the sizes are excellent. Now guys, this one can get a little bit green in the shade. It is one of the most relaxing style Japanese maples. I talk about this all the time, but I love that bamboo aesthetic on a Japanese maple. You get all the benefits of a Japanese maple, spring, summer, fall color, non-invasive root systems, but you get that open, airy, whimsical feel for Asian gardening that the linear lobulums, I feel like they bring that as well as bamboo, even in a better setting. So it's one of the most relaxing plants to be in the garden. I think you're gonna absolutely love Beni-otaki. You can get a little growth that's larger on the oldest growth right now. Fret not, that's typical for summer growth. It's going to come back out with that tiny foliage in the next spring. A showstopper for the red blazing colors it puts on in the fall as well.
Now this tree has a very narrow profile at a young age and then gets slightly wider with time. But because of that, it fits in smaller gardens very easily and just gives that new aesthetic and a new texture in the garden, almost giving that feeling of a lace leaf that's upright.
Now, you heard Tim mention earlier, but if you see one named red bamboo, exact same plant, no reason to collect both. Beni-otaki means red bamboo. It is an awesome plant. One of our first ones. I love this plant so much. I got it when it had a graft and rubber band on it. I got it fresh out of the graft area in a liner, put one straight in the ground. That tree's now huge over at Maplewood Gardens. That's been 20 years ago almost. I was so excited getting that first Beni-otaki in the ground. It is a showstopper, y'all. You're gonna love the color and texture it provides for your landscape.
Guys, next up, we've got Acer olivaceum. We'd listed this a few months ago and it sold out really quickly. We have another set that was right behind it, just now becoming available.
Shout out to you species guys. We will always be committed here at Mr. Maple into making interesting species available. We love doing the new, the cutting edge. You're gonna see something real cutting edge here in a second. We love the cutting edge things, guys. We also love the Acer species. They're not for everybody. They're a little bit more of a sophisticated garden is the honest thing. A lot of these are gonna be a little trickier for people to collect. It's not your average gardener that's gonna get into collecting rare Acer species, but I think they're so interesting. They're in section palmata, a lot of the ones we offer. We had Williamnitz a few weeks ago. Now we've got Acer olivaceum, y'all. These are trees that look like Japanese maples, but have some other interesting traits to them. This one is directly grafted from the Charlie Keith Arboretum, which is a great source for these. I absolutely love the color palette these bring to the table. They're elevated heat tolerance, as well as just overall amazing plants.
Now, Acer olivaceum has one of the best fall colors of any maple. When we purchased Highland Creek Nursery, that was in Fletcher, he told us this is an amazing tree, and we fell in love with Acer olivaceum. This particular tree that this was grafted off of at the Keith Arboretum came directly from J.D. Vertrees himself, so we know that it's sourced to be very true to form. This is grafted onto Acer palmatum. It's closely related to Acer palmatum, in section palmata, like Acer japonicums, Acer shirasaminums, and Acer olivaceums.
Now these are super heat tolerant. We haven't quite put them in that same category with our Acer olivaceum evaluations, but they might be there. We've collected a lot of seed off these. Go watch our full breakdown on the species. We talk about the controversy behind the naming. We talk about, some of the nomenclature challenges. We have a beautiful specimen of this on our channel. You can search it in YouTube anytime, Acer olivaceum Mr. Maple. Check that out sometime. I think you'll enjoy it. Mid-video, right? Nothing big breaks mid-video.
Never mid-video.
All right, guys, red panda back on the table. A lot of y'all been waiting for the pandas. They're back.
Guys, we work hard to try to bring bigger and more of a set every time we offer a plant. Red Panda, this is the second time we've released it on MrMaple.com, and this is an amazing new selection that we've patented here at Mr. Maple. To me, this is the very best of the red Macawas.
Now, Tim and I have been going through seed, since 2008 on Macawa Yetsubusa. That's a passion project of ours. We went through several thousand seeds every single year. Go watch our Buckholz factory, Macawa factory video where we take you to the Macawa factory that we now have dedicated to at Buckholz Nursery just for Macawa seedlings. There's years where Tim and I went through 25 pounds of dried Macawa Yetsubusa seed. That's how crazy we are. Now, not everything makes the cut. A lot of people go, well, you can find something red. I've found thousands of red Macawa seedlings. Most of those go into our sale for Macawa Yetsubusa seedlings. Look, we offer those all the time because we love them and they're outstanding plants. Only the best get elevated to cultivar status. Now, Red Panda went through a rigorous evaluation status for us here. We compared it to everything out there. And for us, it's our favorite red Macawa Yetsubusa. It held the color the best. It had the best growth rate, the best structure, the best leaf color. Everything about it kind of came to the top of the list there. That's why we got it into the trade, Red Panda.
Not only does it hold its color for the longest, the shade of red that this goes to is very deep and bold. And I love this tree. This is such an amazing Japanese maple with a dense dwarf compact habit and good red color. Y'all, this is a Japanese maple you need to have in your garden.
You guys know all about it. The hype train went off the chains on it. We had it in one video. We really weren't even trying to hype it and things went crazy. I think you guys will love this one though. It's going to become a staple here at Mr. Maple. We'll be able to offer bigger and bigger sets. We have it in heavy production at both farms. So fret not if you don't get one today, they're coming back. We're going to make Mayday, Mystic, Red Panda. We're going to make all of our favorites Koi. We're going to make those so easy to get. It's going to be like Macawa Yetsubusa. Macawa hardly ever comes down on Mr. Maple. And we're going to make the same thing true of Red Panda because I think it's that good of a plant. So grab you one here today, but know if you miss out, it will be returning. All right, guys, we're bringing back Pinus, mugo, Ophir.
Many of y'all may have saw our yellow garden and our top 5 yellow plants at Buckholtz Nursery. And you'll see us talking about Karstens and go around seeing all the Karstens. And I walk up to a plant and I say, you know, this is another Karstens. This is another Karstens. And then I walk up, I'm like, this is not a Karstens. That was Pinus mugo Ophir.
Beautiful plant, incredible yellows in the winter months. It's a great Pinus mugo. They're super durable. They're drought resistant. But guys, when it lights up in the fall through the winter, it's an incredible shade of yellow.
And this gives you that yellow interest in that winter garden to contrast with many of your other conifers and give you that yellow color when something like a summer gold is going to have its leaves dropped.
Yeah, when we were at Buckholtz shooting our yellow and blue walkthroughs, the yellow conifers were really still in the show. It's winter in the garden. It still had so much structure and so much interest in that blue garden. And the yellow conifers were really what were getting everybody excited. Like, you felt like something was flowering. You felt like something was at its peak. It's fun to have that even in those winter months when it's snowy, when it's drab, when everything's kind of bored in the garden. This really comes to the forefront of the garden. It really helps establish, you know, the structure of the garden, but it also keeps the garden relevant in those winter months.
I like the Pinus mugos, the mountain pines, because they have that dense, compact habit. That means they're going to fit in many gardens. They're not going to get too tall. And this one with that yellow color gives you a little bit of extra out there in the garden. Make sure that you give conifers, especially the Pinus mugos, you want to give them some protection from the hot afternoon sun in extremely hot climates, but at the same time, give them good drainage whenever you're planting, and these trees are going to thrive and make a year-round plant that you can really enjoy.
What do you mean too tall? I feel targeted, man. Red Panda and Firefly on the same 10 at 10. Guys, great set of Acer palmatum Firefly back on the table today.
Acer palmatum Firefly is one of the most outstanding reticulated Japanese maples of them all. We named it and were able to introduce it through here at Mr. Maple, and Firefly just puts on some outrageous colors in the spring, some bright pinks with very prominent green veining.
You will have a fun time with this one. Just go to Mr. Maple Friends on Facebook, put in Acer palmatum Firefly, and just watch the fun ensue. There's a ton of pictures on there. It's one that everybody takes pictures of. Even if you're a photography novelist, people take pictures of this one. Novice, not a novelist, but a novice. People take pictures of this one and put it everywhere. And it is incredible because it continues to change continuously throughout the spring, summer, fall. I actually love it late summer. You start to get these fire splashes over top of it. It really can show out, guys. These have been a lot of shade. A lot of people will show you pictures of their Firefly when they received it from the shade of the box to 2 to 3 weeks later, and how crazy a purple it's already getting. They're so fun. The variegation, I've said it a million times, but it's my favorite variegated Japanese maple. Until something knocks it off, this is my number one.
I like it also because it has this very strong upright habit, so it makes a beautiful tree in the landscape, gives you some good red fall color as well, and that ever-changing color is one of the most dynamic aspects of this tree, because in the spring it looks like a different tree than the summer, then the late summer it looks different again, and then when the fall hits, you've got a completely different tree again. This tree rocks it out each and every part of the season, and it's a tree you're going to really enjoy.
You'll love it. Grab you a Firefly today. Sometimes I'm a bit of a novelist at saying words correctly. All right, y'all, this is another Mr. Maple introduction. Shout out to Jonathan Savage. He actually sent me the seedling that became Strawberry Field. So we named this independently before Strawberry Delight or Strawberry Spring. There weren't any out there. This was a seedling he found. He was going through tons of seeds. This is the same guy that found Lillian's Jewel and the seedling that eventually became Magic Moon. So he has an eye for some crazy stuff. Sent me the seedling, said put a name on it, enjoy it, do whatever you want with it. Later became Strawberry Fields. I think I went to Strawberry Fields in New York with John Lennon. I'd visited his memorial there and just had some Beatles music playing that day. I love whenever we can incorporate some classic music, some classic rock at least, into our naming. So Strawberry Fields, a bit of a Beatles homage there.
Yeah, I love this tree because the closest thing that's close, I would say, has a similar leaf structure is something like Ariadne. But this is like a pink, a strawberry pink version of an Ariadne. So it's going to give you some amazing colors. It's going to give you the heavy serration on the leaves as well. To me, this is a no-brainer when it comes to something that's different in the nursery trade. And it's got this nice upright but semi-pendulous habit.
You can get some incredible shades on this one. I've had it be purple and pink at the same time. I've had it go through some really weird dynamic changes. Early morning sun, late day shade, like with Firefly, will give you your best color changes on this one. It can get some weird malting colors. It continues to change continuously throughout the season. It is semi-pendulous, kind of like Grandma Goes too. You'll get a lot of growth growing up, but you'll get these branches that kind of get a bit irregular, which I think gives it a more unique shape than a lot of the typical reticulated forms.
And this is actually a tree that we were actually got the exact same time we got Magic Moon.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, these trees are just like groundbreaking, changing, cool trees in the nursery trade.
Had them for over 15 years, evaluated them, watched them. Jonathan said put some names on these, and man, both those became hits. I know a lot of people have been waiting for this one to get back in stock. It's been in a lot of top fives last summer. It was a real hit, and I think it's really starting to become one of those dark favorites for people. So it's a lot of people's favorite really dark tree. I've heard a lot of people mentioning and singing its praises in the Deep South for high heat as well. Guys, today we're bringing back Black Lace.
Yeah, this is one of the deepest, darkest reds that's in the nursery trade. It has a heavy Matsumuri leaf, and it is a strong, vigorous grower. And that's one of the reasons I love this tree. Take this, pair it out there with an orange flame, pair it with the summer gold. You're gonna have some dynamic contrast throughout the season. And this tree just gets more deep and dark purple red as that season goes on.
You're gonna love this one, guys. It is a showstopper. I love for how the coloration on it is excellent. We're here in July filming this, guys. It's still dark red. It's been in heavy shade. This thing holds its color. It looks outstanding. It pairs so well with everything because it brings that boldness to the garden. So everything else plays off this. It's like the base of the symphony. And you know, everything else looks at this and it brings everything else up. It makes the colors brighter for every other plant in the garden because of that base to play off of. Absolutely love what it does in the garden. Now, it's a cool tree in its own right. It's got very unique Matsumuri style leaves that are heavily divided, giving it that lacy-like appearance. Makes a nice upright tree, typically growing over a foot of growth a year. These are gonna work zones 5 through 9. And you know Tim's gonna pair it with yellow.
Yeah, pair this with something like a Golden Falls, and you've got a rock star combination in the garden. Be careful where you plant dark colored trees. You don't want to plant them in the deep shade. Give them some sunlight, give them something to bounce off the contrast of the color with, and you're gonna have a garden that is dynamic and really appeals to the masses.
I walked into an area one time at Buckholtz that had about 15 of these in like 10 gallons, maybe 7, they're big. But the shock of that many of them together, the color pattern was just outrageous. Guys, you're gonna love this one. It's becoming a hit. Grab you a Black Lace today. More climbing hydrangeas, you got it.
Today we've got Hydrangea, petiolaris, early light.
This is an insane variegated climbing hydrangea, guys. Great sizes on these. They're in our 1 gallons. The variegation on this thing is nuts. It is a frosted type variegation. Kind of gives you a cool feel to it. We talked about these before. I love putting them on wooden structures. You can put it on a fence. You can put it on an old oak tree. They love the shade. You can put this in an area where you've got, you know, not a lot of interest. That bright white variegation is going to light up a dark spot in the garden. I'm actually planning to put some wood and have a collection of these along one of our metal fences. So I'm going to screw some wood in there for it to kind of grip onto our metal fencing because I think it's a perfect plant to screen out a neighbor. So we've got high 6-foot fences. I'm going to kind of let this take some of the fence work.
I love what this climbing hydrangea does. Early light has this unique sand dusting variegation on the new growth that is just outstanding. It's one of the most pure white colors of any of those climbing hydrangeas. And that's the cool thing about each of these climbing hydrangeas we're beginning to offer. They have unique styles of variegation all in their own respect, but at the same time, they all climb on wood.
Right.
They get blooms to them. And they just make a dynamic display even when the blooms aren't there.
Did you mention it's going to flower as well? That's like the last thing we talked about. These are fun because, guys, you can play with the structures. You can put this over an arbor. You can get as creative as you want in the landscape. I've seen people stake these up to about 4 to 5 feet, then take the stake off, get a good base, let them stand alone as a shrub in the landscape themselves. Looked really cool as well. If you're not familiar with this style of variegation, it looks a lot like Naguri Nishiki or Ukigumo at peak color. We're here in July. You're still getting that peak color right now.
Now what you do to get these things started is you take one of these branches like so, and you just take a light string and wrap it around starting on whatever wood you've got. If it's a tree, if it's a fence, if it's just a piece of wood over an arbor, that's how you start it. And then it'll actually grow little hairs essentially into that wood. Hang on, and guys, it begins climbing.
Climbs little hairs like Spider-Man.
Now guys, we've got an open house coming up. It's actually coming up this weekend, so get excited. It's going to be Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to noon, and we're going to have tons of cool plants and a lot of cool people.
Promise of cool plants either way. It's going to be a hard cutoff each day at 12, y'all, so we'll close it down that way. We get everybody out of the heat. These greenhouses get pretty hot, you know, from that 3 to 4 kind of time frame, so we're going to get everybody out of here at 12 before it gets too hot. Come enjoy the weekend in Hendersonville. We'd love to see you Friday and Saturday. There's going to be a lot of great plants going on here. We're going to make sure it's worth your while if you show up. There'll be some incredible plants to check out.
Now that's July 26th and 27th from 8 a.m. to noon. You want to be here at 8 a.m. to run through all the greenhouses.
Take care.
God bless.
Have a great day.